What's up, YouTube? Back here again with another video, and today, yes, we're going to take a look at the Emax Tiny Hawk. Now, this is the cool little case that it comes in. Alright, so a little, like, soft hard shell combination jobber there. So we'll get rid of that. We got our Tiny Hawk. We get a little bag of extra goodies, which would be another little pigtail. We get some extra screws and a couple rubber grommets. So that's all good, well and good there. We also get this little charger, which we will take a look at shortly. We'll take a look at the power output of this guy, see what we can get out of it. The Tiny Hawk itself, and one 450 milliamp hour high volt 80C 160C made in China Emax branded battery. So there you go. Now, the Tiny Hawk here is equipped with 08025 15,000 kV motors, so that's these little tiny guys up in here. Brushless motors with about a 1.5 inch prop or so, or a 40 millimeter size prop, like a large whoop size prop. We got an F4 board with the Maiden F411 firmware, 3 amp ESC. This one is D8 for FR Sky, and it's 75 millimeter wheelbase. We got a 25 milliwatt transmitter, and we got some things with that we'll get into later. 600 TV line camera. So that's the basics right there in a nutshell. Now, this is Emax's offering for the Tiny Whoop class. Okay, this guy is super light. So before we go too far, let's just take a look at the weight and with and without the battery. So we got 28.5 grams without the battery. With the battery, we're talking a 41.6 gram all up weight, so very light. Now I also got some of these 550 milliamp hour batteries, which we're going to take a look at. I just want to see the difference here. So 13.4, 13.0, so a 0.4 gram difference for 100 milliamps. You know, I think to me so far that's worth it. Now that doesn't have a wire either, so we're going to have to figure that out, but you get the point. So here we are. Let's take a look. We got this molded plastic frame here. It's definitely flexible. We'll have to see how durable it is over time. And the most unique thing about this guy, because we've seen custom frames before for small little things like this, but they got downward mounted motors. Okay, so here's the top, here's the bottom, right? And it's got these props that socket over the entire top of the motor. So it holds onto the bell, which I like because it gives it more friction to hold it in. So this being the front, we'll have to look at that once we start spinning them up and see. I guess they're going to spin this way. So they spin in like normal to create lift. It's like the props mounted the normal way, but the motor is mounted the other way. Can you kind of tell that? Which is what you would want. So cool. All right. We've got our VTX and camera up in here, and there is our button to change the VTX, and there's our USB cable. We'll get into Betaflight at the end here just to verify some stuff. And for this version, this is the retail version that I bought myself from Race Day Quads for $100. We got the bind button right there, which we're going to have to get into. Now, I'm going to have to make a little jumper lead for these batteries because they don't reach. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take off this piece here. We got 4 screws. Take off these 4 screws, make my little jumper lead, then we'll come back and we'll start binding it and get some power to this guy and see what we got going on. So I have this set up for D8 mode, okay? This is the FR Sky version, and it's got an internal receiver, and this is going to be set up for D8. You can see right here, D8, all right? And we're going to hit bind. Alright, then we're going to come over here and push this little button, and while we're plugging this guy in, alright, now we got some stuff flashing, so I'm going to stop this. It looked like we got a confirmation there, so let's restart. And I do see a solid green light in there. Can you see that guy right there? So that was pretty easy, pretty simple. That went nice and easy. Okay, and aux 1 is set up for ARM. So let's put this back together real quick. So we got it back together. Now at this point we can actually fly this bad boy. So we'll plug it in again. Now I haven't done, like I said, we got our green light flashing inside of there. I think you can see that.
Ignition active. Ignition off. Ignition active.
All right, so we got bind. All right, there we go. So we got bind and everything. Now, let's talk about the video before we go to Betaflight and before we get into a DVR recording. So this guy's a 25 milliwatt and it's got a lot of locked out channels. So if we look here, you can see we got unlicensed user, unlocked licensed user. So now the way I understand this is to unlock it, you gotta hit this button, the VTX button here. And it's also equipped with OSD, so we're going to look at that in a minute, or Betaflight Smart Audio. So I'm pushing this button, and I'm plugging it in, and all the lights lit up. I hope that did something. Let's see what we got. Alright, let's go to Betaflight, see what we got there, and we'll mess around with the VTX in a minute. Alright, so we're plugged in here. And let's get in and hit connect. Now, if you're setting this up for the first time, like I am, I'm going to check a few things. All right, so we got ports. All right, smart audio and serial. Let's go to configuration, see what we got. D-Shot 600. All right, max arm. I like mine to be 180, just so I don't have to mess around. Tiny Hawk, S-Bus, Air Mode, OSD, Anti-Gravity. Alright, we are on 3.5.1 too, just so you know. Beacon lost, there's a little beep for us. Alright, so let's save that guy. Now this is supposed to be already tuned up and ready to go. Now the big deal, I need to check my mode. So we know we got ARM on aux 1. Alright, for me, alright, aux 2, this is almost right. I like angle at the start. I don't like horizon, so air mode is already always on in configuration. So when it goes into the middle position, since nothing there, it'll be in air mode. And beeper at the bottom position. So I'm going to put the beeper in the bottom position on aux 2. So that's the way I like that. And I like flip over after crash on aux 3. So you can see they got it kind of spread out. Everything's on they got it spread out on 4 different aux channels. So I like that like that. Alright. So there we go. We got our angle mode. So we can see we got angle. Now it's in air mode. Activates our beeper. And then aux 3 for me. We'll flip over after crash. Alright, so we're good with all that. Now, let's check out our OSD. Let's see what they have on here. And now they have it set. So we got our channel. I'm just going to move this stuff around like I like it. Let's see. I like my time. We need warnings. The only thing I don't see is warnings. I would recommend you put that on there, and I like that at the bottom. And then I like my timer over here. RSSI right here. This will go up here because we don't really need much of that. And my battery over here. Alright, so I'm good with that. Save. And that's all I'm going to do. I am not going to mess with the PID tuning. This is supposed to have a custom PID tune. What I will do is add in my rate. So they got the RC rate changed. So I'm going to add in my rate. And they got a lot of expo in here, so let's leave that. Alright, let's just leave that and see what that does. Just put a little extra rates in there, and I'm going to leave everything else exactly the same. Saved. Alright, disconnect. let's take it back down to the table, take a look at that VTX, see what we can do with that, and keep going. Let's get into this VTX and see where we're at here. Turn this guy on. Now, I honestly at this point don't know what channel we're on. Alright, looks like A6 comes up just fine. So now, if I unlocked it earlier, if you remember earlier I held the button and plugged in the battery, we should be able to get into all the channels and everything, and I like to fly, or say, okay, so it comes up in race 4. I like to fly on race 3. So let's set that. Okay, so it's not outputting. Now, that tells me that I did not unlock it. Alright. So we changed that to R3. Okay, so smart audio works, and I believe that should be unlocked now, because the lock channel R3 is a lock channel, and now it's unlocked and it's working, so we should be good to go. Now this guy is all ready to fly. That simple, very easy. You got smart audio for your VTX channel. Once you unlock it, make sure you do that step. Now, because I have these batteries here and this didn't fit, instead of changing this out, I just made a little adapter for now, because I'm going to get the right batteries. Alright, before we wrap this guy up and get into the DVR, let's check out this little charger. So let's plug the guy in, and we can see we got 4 lights blinking here. It's kind of like, so we have nothing in there. So I imagine that there's going to be 1 light for each of these wires. You got 2 wires over here for 4.2 volts and 2 wires for 4.35 volts. So let's plug one in, and okay, like I thought there, we've got a blinking light, so that's telling us that that one is blinking or charging. This battery should be fully charged. Okay, so fully charged will be solid. Fully charged will be solid. Charging will be blinking. So there you go. Pretty little handy. It's small. Plug it in the USB. Get yourself some charge. So there you go. I'm going to plug this guy in, put my goggles on, do a little flight. I'll throw in the DVR. Again, thanks for watching. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.